And the award for Best Thighs goes to Godzilla. Wow. Godzilla Minus One is a new Godzilla movie that comes from Japan. This is not connected to the legendary MonsterVerse movies, so there is no pink Godzilla to be seen here. Sorry, folks. Godzilla Minus One takes place right after World War II and shows a beaten down Japan and how difficult it was to survive something like that. As if the war was not hard enough, a new threat rises in the form of Godzilla. He makes his debut in a terrifying scene and lets you know right away this is not the American Godzilla. Godzilla in this movie was unsettling. He was creepy. He was vicious. He was an asshole. Every time he was on screen, I was on edge. I was biting my fingernails. I was uncomfortable. I was rooting for the people. I was rooting for the humans this time around. And that is what makes this movie so special. They managed to make a compelling human story. This movie follows Kochi, a kamikaze fighter pilot who has abandoned his post, and he decided that he was not interested in flying his airplane and just going and killing himself. And so he lands on this island, he meets this group of people, and then on this island, something crazy happens. He meets a giant creature, unexplainable, never before seen, but definitely not a Ninja Turtle. And that's where this movie begins. This man is very interesting. He has a very compelling story. You can sympathize with him because I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to fly my plane into some kamikaze situation. I wouldn't want to just be dead. So I can understand and I can sympathize with this character. And that's something I thought right away was a good start. They tried to make him feel guilty in the movie for abandoning his post. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with wanting to live. I mean, war is just a bunch of people being thrown into a situation while big wigs sit there and make executive decisions that cost people lives. And I could definitely understand this character. And so I felt sympathetic with him when he was feeling beaten down, when people were judging him and looking at him differently and snarking at him. It just seemed like, man, leave this guy alone. Just because he didn't want to die doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. He ends up meeting a young woman, and she is carrying a little girl with her, and that little girl is an orphan. She's been orphaned by this war because World War II has just come to an end. Japan is devastated. Everything is in rubble. There's people homeless all over the place. And he meets this woman and this girl, and they end up, reluctantly, they become kind of a family. At first, he's not into it, but it was really just heartwarming watching him slowly warm up to this family. That was one of the things that this movie really shined with, was those human elements. The little girl was so cute. You definitely feel like there was some awes in the theater. She was tugging on the heartstrings for sure. And Noriko, which is the woman he ends up meeting, she was really cool too. She was a great actress. I thought she was fantastic. It's been a while since I watched a subtitled movie. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to read the subtitles, and I was not sure how it was going to go with this movie, but it flew by. It was easy. I had no problems reading the subtitles, and I thought this movie was excellent. I thought it was better than anything that we've been doing in the American Godzilla verse so far, because Godzilla, we decided to turn him into this MCU kind of thing, and I think as a result, it's getting a little less special. We didn't need to do this connected universe. We didn't need to have Godzilla versus Kong. It was pretty entertaining. I liked it. I mean, I'm not going to say that it was a bad movie, but I'm also going to say it didn't really tug at the strings. It didn't really hit the right notes and land the way this movie did. Godzilla in this movie is a force to be reckoned with. He's scary. He's intimidating. He makes you uncomfortable. When he comes along, you know that something bad is going to happen. He's like a hurricane. He's wiping out everything in his path. And that is something that I thought the American movies just didn't really do very much. Godzilla never really had his villain phase in our universe, in our MC or our GCU. It's really hard to say what he was after. Was he after something like he is in the American movies, where he's after like nuclear energy? I don't know. It really just seemed like he just wanted to break shit. And that was like bringing you back to classic Godzilla, the classic Godzilla movies where everyone's screaming, running around, and here he is just wrecking stuff and tearing everything apart, and that was really cool. But what's fascinating is the fact that I was actually more compelled by the humans in this movie. The human story was what was compelling to me this time around. There's a ragtag group of people in this movie that Kochi ends up teaming up with, and their job is to go out and remove water mines from the water that are left over from the war. And this group of people was really fascinating. They were really cool. They were really relatable. You felt like you really got to know them. This movie features a lot of callbacks to the original Godzilla movie, including the iconic theme. And I have to be honest, while I was watching this movie, every time I heard that theme, I couldn't help but think of Dave Chappelle. because there's an old skit from the old Dave Chappelle show where he is like a giant and he's stepping on things. I can't remember if he peed on somebody, but it was funny as heck. And they played this theme. So every time that theme came up, unfortunately, I just imagined a giant Dave Chappelle. But either way, it was used great and it was a powerful theme. It was cool because it lets you know this is the Japanese Godzilla movie. We didn't use that theme, I don't think, in the new ones. So this was a good way of differentiating that this is going to feel more like the classic movies. Overall, I thought this was a really good movie. Usually, you can't go wrong watching a giant monster break stuff, and this movie was no exception. This movie had a lot going for it. There was interesting characters. The humans were actually the best part of the movie. Godzilla was actually my least favorite part of the movie, but that's because he scared the shit out of me, not because he was poorly done. I mean, his design was interesting. It was very jagged. He looked way more rough. He looked way more primal. He looked very prehistoric, even more prehistoric than he looks in our movie. So you could definitely tell that they were maybe trying to go out of their way to let you know that this is not the same Godzilla. They made him look very different. His spikes were more vicious. He looks scary as F, and he is scary as F. So that is definitely a win for this movie. I thought this movie was really good. I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's a great way to spend a couple hours. I think this is a well done movie. The humans are actually the most interesting part for once, and you have a very compelling story that I think will definitely resonate with people. This is a great way to spend your Christmas holiday. You're going to have a good time. I know that my audience was literally cheering. I thought that was pretty cool. It was exciting. I always find it really cool when a movie brings that kind of emotion out of people, and this movie definitely did, so I'm definitely recommending you see it. So if you thought this was an interesting review, if I'm helping to sway your mind, if any of my other reviews have helped to sway your mind, what are you waiting for? You need to hit subscribe on my channel. And while you're at it, please like this video. It lets me know that I did a good job and that I'm not just wasting my time. I really just need this affirmation from you guys. So please like and subscribe to this channel later.